Hey Gemini, what is up, gang? I hope everybody is well. So we're gonna go ahead and do a very special how does spirit see you currently type of reading, okay? If that's something that interests you, do stick around. Gemini, if you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Jessica. Please take a look at my description box because that's gonna have all the information that you would need to know. And yes, this is a Gemini channel. However, if you vibe, you tribe, so go ahead and make yourself comfortable. Gemini, if you are returning, welcome back. I hope that you're well. Hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope that you're doing what's best for you, boo. Thank you for all the love, all the support. Gemini, thank you so much for all the good vibes. It really does mean the world, okay? All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this. So this was selected in the community tab, and it's actually at the time of this reading, it is at a tie with what miracle can you expect next. Okay, so I will most likely do that reading as well, but I wanted to do this one because this was the one that I wanted. I don't get to vote on my own polls, unfortunately, but if I could do a vote, this was the one that I wanted. I want to know how spirit sees me / us right now. I do have to do a little bit of a disclaimer though. I am not the voice of spirit, okay? I am not in any way, shape, or form the voice of spirit. I am but a vessel that it uses from time to time in whatever way it sees fit and necessary, okay? I am a human and a very flawed human at that, all right? I have my own bias, my own point of views, my own lens from life's experience that it's given me for how I view things and how I relate to messages. So if at any time during any of my readings, but especially this one, something does not resonate with you, Gemini, or does not sit right with your soul, do not take it, okay? Because you have your own unique and individual connection to spirit that outweighs anything that I or anybody else could ever tell you, okay? So this is a general reading. I feel like it's very important that we mention that. And let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to use several decks. I'm just going to pull, just like we would be doing if we were going to do how, this person views you. That's how we're going to do this. Now, since both of those readings were tied with 27%, I just felt the number 27 was significant for whatever reason. So I'm going to look it up and see what the angel number is for 27. If anybody's interested in getting this, it's on Amazon. It's Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray. It's an amazing book, great reference book, super cheap. So I would get that if I were you. Okay, so 27. Let's see what we have here. It says, you are being given signs that your prayers are being heard. Trust that God's plan is unfolding as it needs to. Okay, so I hope that was a message for somebody that you needed to hear, okay, and that it was timely. All right, let's go ahead and get into this, Gemini. So we have the roses that are blooming for how spirit sees you currently. I feel like there is a part of you that's blooming. There could have been a part of you that was really shut up or shut in, or a hermit energy, or not wanting to expose yourself, not wanting to allow yourself to be seen in some type of way, okay? Maybe because you were scared of how people would take you, what reactions you would get, and there's almost been this energy of maybe something has happened recently where it's like, well, oh well, I guess there's no need to hide now, or there's no need to put on these airs now because this has happened or that's happened. Like that, this is how the cookie has crumbled. This is how something has fallen into place or fallen apart or whatever. So there's no need for me to fake. There's no need for me to put on any kind of mask. There could be like a balls to the wall type of energy, or throwing all inhibitions to the side in the way of your own authenticity, in the way of whatever mask that you were possibly holding up or wearing, or facade that you were trying to put on, a show that maybe you were trying to have in place. And again, it doesn't come from, at least I'm not getting that it comes from a deceptive type of energy. It's more of like, I'm afraid to be seen. Now, we are, like I said, going to look through many different decks. We're going to look through the animal spirit deck, of course, and I'm not going to do a power animal. I'm just going to pull some cards. But they are showing me the raccoon in my mind's eye. So that could be significant for you, Gemini. The raccoon is all about, exploring the creator and the artist within, and kind of, needing to be willing, to take that mask off and let yourself be seen from time to time. For me personally as well, the raccoon also talks about you connecting with your shadow self, you connecting with the darker side and darker parts of yourself, and not necessarily looking at it as a bad thing. Now, are we acting out of the darker spots, right? We have a deep sense of hatred or anger or sadness inside of us, so we are treating people, you know, in a certain type of way because of that. No, that's not what this is saying. This is accepting that you do have anger, you do have hatred, you do have sadness inside of you. And that doesn't mean that you can't have happiness, and you can't have joy, and you can't have peace, and you can't have strength. You can feel weak and strong at the same time. You can feel happy and sad at the same time. You can feel joyful and pissed off all at the same time. And it's really about us not stifling or pushing away those darker sides of ourselves, okay? A lot of us, I feel like Spirit sees us as people who have, in our childhood, in our life, in our everyday life, some of us are still in those situations at work or with family, friends, where it's like, I can't be my authentic self. If I go too deep, if I get too sad, if I get too angry, if I get too happy, if I get too excited, if I tell you all the creative and imaginative things I have in my head, you're not going to understand me. You're going to reject me, right? You're going to push me away because you don't get it. You have your own perceptions and your own thoughts of what that is. And so you reject it, you push me away. And so you rejecting me means that there's something wrong with me, right? So I kind of feel like that's how Spirit sees us, as individuals and beings that are learning to accept all aspects of ourselves, all parts of ourselves, and knowing that there's nothing wrong with being how you are. There's nothing wrong with being happy. There's nothing wrong with being sad. You know, there's nothing wrong with having the human experience and having all parts of it. And there is something about you, Gemini, where you are in bloom, or you're coming into bloom right now. You have so much potential. I get the energy of Spirit feeling like you have so much potential. You haven't even tapped the surface of it yet. You know, you're like an iceberg where we see the tip, we see the top from the surface. And a lot of people might think that, oh, well, that's all there is to Gemini, right? But Spirit sees so much deeper. Spirit sees beneath the surface and sees all the depth that there is to you, all the stuff that you keep hidden because of fear of rejection or fear of people not understanding you, okay? Yeah, the octopus energy. You're very deep, okay? I get that energy very strongly. I also feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who's extremely intelligent, a problem solver, somebody who maybe you like to tinker with things. I'm kind of getting somebody that likes to tinker, okay? So you might be the type of person that takes something apart and puts it back together just for fun, okay? Like maybe like the coffee maker or an engine, or I don't know, I'm getting a sewing machine, or like a hair dryer or something. It's like take it apart, put it back together just for fun, okay? And some of you guys might like to just doodle or do little things where it's like very repetitive over and over and over again. There's something about that, okay? All right, so let's get some animal messages here for how Spirit sees Gemini energy currently. Spirit, how do you see the Gemini collective currently? And I say currently because this is ever changing, okay? We have the swan coming out with the turtle energy. Let's get one more. I want to get the cards out. Spirit, how do you see Gemini energy currently, please? Okay, and then we have the whale. How did I know, right? Deep. I feel like a lot of people see Gemini energy as very shallow and surface level and superficial almost. I think that's because they don't understand us. Like, so if we go through something severe or traumatic or serious, we might instantly start turning into like Jim Carrey and being all jokey and all like this and that and crazy. And people be like, oh, wow, well, Gemini didn't even give a fuck, right? But it's almost like the energy of, no, Geminis, that's Gemini flailing right now. Like, that's Gemini trying to get it together, okay? So I feel like a lot of people feel like you don't take things seriously or you can't take things seriously, but I feel like, again, Spirit sees a deeper side of you, okay? So we have the swan, the turtle, and the whale. Do you notice one thing right off the bat? It's all the same element, okay? Spirit sees us all in the same element, and I believe that is the water, which is so funny. Yep, it is. Because I feel like there's this energy here, Gemini, of when you look at yourself, you might not want to look at that emotional side of yourself. I feel like when you grew up, there was probably a lot of being punished for your emotions. Well, if you're going to cry, I'm going to give you something to cry about, right? Or go to the room and do that. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to hear that, you know? Or no, you don't, there's no need to cry. There's no need to act like that right now. It's not that serious. It's not that important. Like, I'm getting the energy of you having to kind of stifle your emotions down a lot throughout your life, not just your childhood, but it feels like throughout your life. Okay. I feel like there could even be this energy of people who do things to you, ex-partners, ex-friends, family, whatever, who have hurt you in your past and then turned around and blamed you for the reaction that you had, Like, well, you hurt me and you made me feel like this and that, and this is me expressing that hurt, and then them being like, oh my God, you're so emotional, you're so this, you're so that, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, almost like devaluing the experience that you've went through, okay? So I feel like Spirit sees you as that. I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who wants to go deeper, somebody who wants to express themselves. I also feel like, just without reading the book, because we are going to read the book for all of these, I feel like there's this energy here of Spirit seeing you as somebody who is in deep reflection, always looking back at yourself. Okay, it's very interesting because this is my original Gemini card for this deck, just because of the twinning energy here. And we had quite recently decided that it was the zebra, but I do feel, actually, from what I've read of the swan, that the swan energy resonates right now. So I don't know. I feel like we go back and forth, right? But there's this energy here with the swan of like being in deep reflection, wanting to see deeper into yourself. And there is a mask there, I've also never really noticed before, but doesn't that swan kind of look a little sad? Like, there's a sadness in your eyes, Gemini, okay? There's something here where it's in your eyes. There's something where it's like you've been through a lot, Gemini. You've been through a lot, And some of you could be in this time right now, because this is how Spirit sees you currently. If I did this reading in a month, it could be completely different. I feel like right now, Spirit sees you as somebody who is reflecting over their actions, over their whole life's path, their whole journey that they've been on. And somebody who, regardless of what season you're in, regardless of whether you're 20-something or you're 50-something, I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who feels like they're just beginning. You're just beginning a journey to something. You're just starting to get an understanding of who you are, or you're still in that energy of growing. You're still in that energy of climbing here, because that's what I'm seeing with the turtle. Like, somebody who's putting one foot in front of the next and just trying to do the best that they can do, okay? So I do feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who is very reflective, maybe a little sad over their choices, maybe a little sad over how things have turned out. And for some of you, possibly even wanting to kind of protect. There's an energy of being very self-protective right now and pulling back, feeling like maybe a lot of people don't understand you. Again, I can't expose my underbelly, because if I expose my vulnerabilities, my weaknesses, how I really feel about things, I'm going to be pushed away. I'm going to be rejected. So it's best if I just go in my shell. It's best if I just, keep it moving, right? If I put one foot in front of the other and I continue on my journey, okay? Some of you guys have been going through a lot of deep emotional stuff, and I don't feel like it's just now. I feel like it's throughout your entire life. But maybe it feels like quite recently there's been a lot of darkness. Just because with these three cards right here, the firefly being on the bottom of the deck, I feel like there's a lot of darkness here, okay? And with the well in particular, it's like we've dived really deep and maybe stayed down a little bit too long. And, the well, even though it can hold its breath for an incredible length of time, and it can traverse, in a sense, both water and that air energy, because it has to come up. Sorry, guys. My nose is starting to itch bad, so I'm probably going to be rubbing it throughout this reading. There's this energy here of we got to come up for air, right? And some of you guys might feel like that. You want to come up for air. You want to see what it's like above the surface, That's just for some of you guys. Now, with the firefly energy, it's really interesting because I'm pretty sure the firefly is that's the fire element, or is it the air element? I think it's the air, actually. Hold on. Let me make sure. I kind of know the symbols, but I'm still learning. Let me just double check and make sure that's air, so I give you guys, because I don't want to give you guys false information. Like in the last reading, in the full moon reading, some jackananny had told me it was the damn eclipse full moon, and it wasn't. It was a super moon full moon. So I'm sitting here saying it's the eclipse, and it's not no damn eclipse, it's a super moon. And I'm not an astrologist, and I don't ever plan to really be one, to be honest. So I didn't really do my homework, so I'm just like, well, that lesson I've learned, because I don't like giving out false information. So yeah, it is air, okay? So that's what I'm getting here with this well. And it's interesting that the well, it's coming from the well, right? Wanting to get to the surface here, wanting to get out of this darkness. I do feel like you are a source of light, Gemini, with that firefly energy. I feel like Spirit sees you as a source of light. And again, both this and that can be true. And that is one of your sayings, right? Just like we say it is what it is one of Gemini's sayings. Well, this and that can be true is also one of Gemini's sayings, okay? You can be in the darkness and you can also be a source of light. You can be sad and you can also be happy, okay? You can be down, but you can also be up. So don't limit yourself. You should never limit yourself. And I feel like Spirit does not limit you. Spirit does not look at you and go, well, that's all that you'll ever be. And this is all that you could ever achieve. And you're a sad bitch today, so you're going to be a sad bitch tomorrow. I don't feel like Spirit sees you like that. I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who's always changing, always growing, always moving, always evolving. And there's so much more to you. In fact, I get like, I don't know why, but I get, I don't know why they're singing that song. They're saying, ooh, baby. Yeah, I love you, babe. You're my everything. What is that? I'm your main bitch. Fuck a wedding ring. I don't know why they're singing that song. I have no idea why they're singing that song, but they're showing me those memes of like when she texts back and it's like construction workers on the job and they're like sitting there like doing hearts in the concrete and stuff and like on their phone and they have their like hands on their chin and they have their feet crossed and they're like swinging them back and forth, you know, like when you're in love with somebody or whatever. And I feel like it's almost like Spirit watching you. Like that's how Spirit is when it watches you. Like it's just like, oh, Gemini's out there doing their thing or Gemini's doing that. I don't know why, but I feel like Spirit really does like checking in on your energy and like seeing what's up with you. Gemini is basically what I was getting from that. Okay. No, none of this reading is meant to be disrespectful for dang sure, but I mean, hey, my guides are the ones that gave me that song. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I feel like you are a source of light, Gemini, and you maybe almost don't see that. Okay, I use this reference a lot in readings of the sun and how the sun might come out, right? And like it today, like it's a beautiful, crispy, sunny day today. And the sun might come out and be like, oh, wow, it's beautiful today. It's beautiful. It's bright. The birds are chirping. Everything is good. I just love today. It's just a great day. And we know, right, from the outside perspective, we being Spirit in this sense of this example, looking at the sun, you being the sun, right? And we being Spirit, we know that the only reason things are shining right now is because the sun's out. Like it's you that's doing that, right? But the sun may not recognize that. The sun might just think, oh wow, today's a shiny day. It's great. Today's sunny. Today's bright, you know? And I feel like that's the kind of energy that you carry. Like if this firefly put its light out, it would be darkness. And then the firefly might just think, oh, well, it's just dark today, you know? So there's something here about Spirit, I feel like wanting you, I know this is how Spirit sees you, but I feel like there's something here about Spirit wanting you to recognize your own light and realize that you are a source of light. Even when you do feel like you're in the darkness, even when you do feel like you're sad or you're just trying to reflect and get through, okay? Let's go ahead. We're gonna read whatever comes first, since we have 3 to read from this. Let's see. The turtle. Okay, so it's so funny too because the turtle, like, it does spend a lot of its time in water because I saw the beaver and I was like, the beaver and the turtle. I didn't create this book, right? So I'm not gonna like crap all over the creator of it, but I feel like the beaver and the turtle should have been like in the earth element, right? That's just how I naturally think of them. But actually the beaver and the turtle spend a lot of time in the water. They're kind of aquatic. So it's just interesting here how you can do both, and that is that element coming back here of this and that can be true for you, Gemini, okay? So the turtle says ancient soul, grounded, trusting, and at home in the self, because it does have its own protective shell, okay? It says, it is wonderful to be in the presence of a turtle personality. Like the beaver, the turtle has a strong relationship with the earth and water elements simultaneously. This helps to ground and connect them to the deeper truths of life. No matter where their travels lead them, turtle energy is behind all great writers and storytellers as they collect their life experiences under their shells for later use. The most potent turtle energy helps us close all the other books and begin to tell our own true tell. So when in balance, peaceful, adventurous, and productive. When out of balance, slows down to a halt and to bring into balance an adventure, okay? So Gemini, you are an ancient soul, and I see that anyways with all three of these animals. I mean, I feel like all three of these animals are extremely deep animals. The swan is quite reflective. The whale is obviously deep for very obvious reasons. It can go deeper than a lot of other animals can go, okay? The whale can go deeper than a lot of fishes and sea creatures around it can, okay? So there's something here where it's like you are very ancient. You do have a lot of life experience, life wisdom, and it is because of all the trials and tribulations that you've been through. If you had had a very sheltered life where nothing bad has ever happened, you've never had to feel guilt, remorse, shame, pain, sorrow, tragedy, trauma, abuse, all these things that you've went through, Gemini, if you had never went through any of those, you wouldn't be very deep at all. You'd have probably very little life experience. And I do feel like some of you guys, when you're in that upset energy, it's like, I don't really care about having life experience. I don't want to be hurt anymore. I don't want to feel pain anymore. But there is something where that's just who you are, Gemini. And there's a level of acceptance that needs to happen here, okay? That's one of my biggest things that I tell people, like when people come to me in grief or people come to me when bad things have just happened to them. The first thing you need to do is accept that it's happened. This is not saying to throw away the emotions and the feelings of the bad things that have happened, and it doesn't mean that suddenly, poof, just like that, I feel better, you know? But acceptance of it is going to be the first step into your healing journey, because you have to accept that, yes, sometimes bad things do happen. Sometimes life sucks. More often than not, life sucks. But that doesn't mean that you can't handle it, right? So there's something here where it's like you have been through a lot, Gemini, and Spirit sees that. Spirit sees that you are an ancient soul and you're meant to be grounded. You're meant to be trusting. It's an oxymoron a little bit here with the turtle energy for me, because it's talking about being trusting, but then also talking about being at home in itself. It has this protective shell. It has the ability and the right to be able to duck into its shell anytime that it wants to, you know? And not a lot of creatures, animals can get into that shell, can penetrate that protective barrier that it naturally has been given from the divine, okay? So your self-protectiveness and what is that? Not perseverance. Preservation. There you go. I knew it was a P word. That you've been given from the divine is there for that reason. While you can be trusting, and you should be trusting, just because life shits on us sometimes, just because people do bad things, just because people show up in ways that they're not actually being authentic to their self, doesn't mean that you should do those things. It doesn't mean that you should show up in ways where you're not authentic to yourself, Gemini. So there's here where you have to find that delicate dance of life when it comes to trusting your journey, trusting yourself, trusting in the divine, trusting in other people, but also knowing that if at any moment you need to, you can dip away. And you do, Gemini, okay? We know that. All right, so let's go ahead and see what's next. We have the swan. It says effortless creativity, sensitive mystic, and elegant power. The swan represents a heightened creativity. In Hindu mythology, the goddess Saraswati, I think that is what that is, the embodiment of language and creativity and artistry, rides on the back of this graceful creature. The swan is ready to take us there, to the fluid realm of writing, creating, and reflecting. This potent and healing energy is not to be taken for granted or taken lightly. When the swan card appears and your soul is calling for attention, for solo time, an inner voice is waiting to be heard, an inner vision likely to be revealed, okay? So, it says, when in balance, infinite creative power. When out of balance, agitated, snippy, and lacking vision. To bring into balance, solo time and writing. And I do feel like, Gemini, that might be something that you feel like you need a lot of, right? You need a lot of solo time. You need a lot of time to reflect. You need a lot of time to create. Some of you guys need a lot of time to write or to dance or to perform or to do these things, you know? Like, it's very important for you. And there is something here where you are reflecting right now, and that is important to you as well. There's something here where an inner vision is going to be revealed, or it's being revealed to you currently. I feel that with the flower energy here. Now, Gemini in itself can be a little bit of an ironic type of energy too, because we are like the life of the party. Like, a lot of people like Gemini energy until they don't, right? For some of us. But anyways, that's besides the point. I feel like a lot of people like Gemini energy because we will get that party started. Okay, we will tell the jokes, we will do the thing, and we'll also be there for you. We'll be a shoulder. We're like the court jester sometimes, and that's true about Gemini energy. But I don't feel like a lot of people actually appreciate the fact that Geminis really do like to be alone. We really do like solo time. We feel comfortable in that energy. We feel comfortable on our own. Even if there's this energy of like you find a partner or somebody that you want to spend time with, you want to be with, I feel like there's still that that need to kind of be on your own a little bit too. Okay, so I feel like that's where one way that Gemini energy can be massively misunderstood, but I feel like Spirit sees you as that. Spirit sees you as a being that needs to be alone sometimes, and it's not just to be alone to do nothing. It's not just to be alone to just stare at the wall, unless that's something that you need to do, right? I feel like more it's like Spirit sees you as somebody who needs to be alone to reflect, first of all. Because self-development, as we see so far from the turtle and the swan, is very important. It's very important that you develop yourself. It's very important that you get to know who you are, that you have a firm, strong understanding of who you are, Gemini. Because I feel like unbalanced Geminis, when they do not know who they are, that's when they get out there and they're like Machiavelli, where they wreak havoc and they cause all these issues. And that's where the toxic and manipulative and lying and cheating and all that side of Gemini energy comes from. Because those energies, first of all, were probably giving, doing too much for other people and not taking enough time to really sit back and reflect. Okay, that's just my own personal opinion. I don't know if that's coming from Spirit or not, but that's just what I'm going to say. I do feel like there's this energy here of Spirit saying that you are meant to create. Okay, you are a creator. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I got that image of Spirit sitting there drawing the heart in the concrete and like, having its feet crossed and like back and forth and just like, my Geminis, right? Because I feel like you are meant to create. I feel like there's something here that you're meant to do. And I feel like Spirit likes to watch you create, likes to watch you perform, likes to watch you, whatever you do. If you write, you do art, you dance, you sing. Maybe it's something like this, where you motivational speak, or you heal people, you help people, whatever it is. It's like Spirit likes to watch you be in your own energy, in your element. Okay, so there's something there with that. Let's keep it moving, because I want to read the Firefly too. So we have the whale. One of my favorite creatures. I love all animals, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all hear me say that all the time, but this is one of my favorite animals. I love whales though, okay? Anyways, okay, so a desire to delve deeper, profound peace, and ancient wisdom. That's interesting because we have ancient twice. Okay, so a lot of you guys are definitely here from several different lifetimes, right? And there could be a sense of knowing that and understanding that within your soul. You could have a lot of deja vu, Gemini, and there could be this sense of like, I've been here before, I've met this person before, I went through this before, something like that. A lot of you guys could meet the same people over and over again. A lot of you guys could be put in the same situations over and over again. A lot of you guys have done many different things, and maybe that's one reason why Geminis are a jack of all trades. We have a lot of different skills, a lot of different talents. We pick up things very easily. And I feel like that's because we incarnate a lot. Okay. So you've been a doctor, right? You've been an artist. You've been a singer. You've been rich. You've been poor. You've been the villain. You've been the bank robber. You've been the psychopath. Okay. You've been the Mother Teresa. Not that you were Mother Teresa, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been the ultimate healer. You've been the abuser. You've been the abusee, right? You've been all of these things. So it's just like you have this great ancient wisdom within you that comes out in everything that you do. And that's why I feel like you are able to easily adapt, easily to kind of slide in and fit in, even if you don't necessarily feel like you fit in anywhere. And I feel like it's because your true home is yourself, right? Your true home is in that reflective state, or maybe in that energy of Spirit, in the depth, in the darkness. And the darkness doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I feel like, there's different types of darkness, right? What about the womb? It's a very dark space, but it's also a place of growth. What about the dirt for a seed? It's plunged into the darkness, but that's a place of growth. And what about the cocoon? Okay, that's also another dark space that you're growing in. Okay, so I do feel like there's something here where you do feel comfortable in that space of the darkness of the growth. Okay, so the well represents profound emotional health and stability. Well personalities are not afraid of emotional expression or traversing difficult terrain, as they have overcome many challenges in their life. These experiences have enriched them, giving them stability, strength, and a depth that is rare. The well energy is usually linked to the feminine forces of compassion and communication. We can depend on the well personalities when all else seems lost, and trust them to be a beacon in our darkest hour. Wow, that's fucking deep. I really like that. All right, so it says, when in balance, calm, steady, and deeply compassionate. When out of balance, heavy and slips into old stories. To bring into balance, regular self-care. Now, I feel like for a lot of you, some of you, not everybody here, I deeply resonated with that energy, like more than I've never, you know, I say it all the time. I haven't read every fucking thing in this book, okay? I don't read guidebooks traditionally, okay? Like when I get a tarot deck, that guidebook just goes tossed across the room. Like I don't really read them. But I really like that. And I personally really resonate with that. But I could feel intuitively that some of you do not. You do not resonate with that energy. And I feel like this is what Spirit sees you being able to become, or wants you to fall into a little bit more, because some of you are extremely scared of the emotion and your emotions and other people's emotions, and there's a heavy avoidant type of energy of that, because again, emotions growing up were looked at as the enemy. You were punished for them. They were used against you, you know. Could have been even, again, in relationships, people hurt you, and then when you got upset about it and you reacted, whether it was angrily or happy or sad or devastated, you pulled back, maybe you retaliated, okay? Whatever it was, it's like then that was turned around and flipped and used against you. And so instead of taking yourself out of that situation for a second and being like, this person's gaslighting the shit out of me right now because they're the ones that hurt me, I have a right to have an emotional reaction. Do I have a right to retaliate? So let's say somebody cheated on you, you cheat on them. Was that the best way to handle that? Probably not. But that's not what needs to be focused on. I'm not advocating cheating at all, okay? Or saying that that's okay. I've been cheated on more times than I'd like to even count, okay? So I'm not saying that that's the right way to handle things. I'm just saying that there was an emotion behind that act that caused that reaction. And that should have been looked at, that emotion, before that even happened. This is where Spirit wants you to get. Spirit wants you to get here before you get here. Okay? There's a reason why you're able to go so deep, Gemini. There's a reason why you're able to see beyond the veil of what other people want you to see, or situations. A lot of you guys are very intuitive, very psychic, very empathic. Okay? And there's a reason for that. So in the past, when people would hurt you, and then you'd have that reaction, and they gaslight you into thinking that reaction was wrong. That emotion that you felt from me hurting you was uncalled for. That is what Spirit wants you to mend. That is what Spirit wants you to work on. There's nothing wrong with feeling emotion, and especially when somebody has provoked that emotion within you. If somebody has hurt you, if somebody has disrespected you, if somebody's manipulated you, if somebody's cheated on you, they've lied to you, they've stolen from you, they've hurt you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. There's nothing wrong with having an emotional reaction, okay? It's about understanding that emotional reaction that you've had, so that way it doesn't turn into an emotional retaliation. Because I feel like some of you guys are confusing the two. You're like, well, I had an emotional reaction, which was an emotional retaliation, but that's, I think we did it. We talked about it, but that's what I'm getting here, basically. Okay. So there's something here where Spirit wants you to focus more on that strength and depth that is rare. It is rare to be deep in this world. So many people, again, what we've talked about, want to avoid the deep. They want to avoid the emotion. They don't want to talk about things that make them sad. They don't want to feel, It's crazy too, because we're in such a sensory addicted type of world where we do want to feel. We just want to feel what makes us feel good. We want to feel sex, and we want to feel drugs, and we want to feel entertainment. We want to feel that feeling we get when we eat a cheeseburger or something, right? But when it comes to when I felt abandoned and I felt hurt and I feel this deep feeling, and then I express that deep feeling, people don't want to feel that. That's what Spirit wants you to focus on, and not necessarily getting it from the external either, because sometimes people around you aren't going to understand that, Gemini. I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who has the capability to go extremely deep, but you gotta go there with yourself first, and you have to remove that shame response, okay, that comes from going deep in your own emotions, that comes from the past where they were used against you, or again, you were punished for it, okay? So there's something there with that. Let's move on to the Firefly real quick. Your nose. Which the Firefly energy is so nostalgic for me, because I remember growing up running through fields with my brother, my sister, and, you know, catching fireflies and put them in jars. Maybe not the most humane thing to do. We released them after a while, but you know what I'm saying, okay? But there's something here where maybe you are very nostalgic, or maybe, you know, maybe some of you guys feel like your childhood was just robbed, you know, and you get like a little bit low-key jealous or envious of children or people who had good childhoods, you know? Like maybe like the story that I just told of us running through the backyard while my parents were barbecuing and we're catching fireflies and we got dirt on our knees, you know, and sticky fingers from eating popsicles, and we're just living our best life. And you're like, well, I didn't have that because we were always moving house to house to house. My mom was a prostitute. My dad was a pimp. You know, you have all this shit and you're just like, that wasn't my childhood, you know? So there's something here where maybe there's an energy of like your inner child that really needs to be focused on. And I feel like Spirit wants you to focus on that, okay? I just saw the Cobra energy. It draw my attention to it because that's the teacher. And I feel like you are a teacher, Gemini. Okay, so the Firefly energy. Sorry, guys. Let me get a drink real quick. Inspired and fantastic, yet fleeting. Okay, the Firefly says, the Firefly contains a light of 1,000 stars. It's pure, radiant, and illuminating. This high frequency charge cannot be sustained for long. Therefore, the Firefly card indicates a moment of inspiration or awakening that can quickly fade if we do not catch it. There is Firefly energy behind every poem, song, and invention. Our job is to be ready to harness this creative spirit when it graces our path. What can you do to support this precious and elusive light? When in balance, writes, creates, and brainstorms. When out of balance, burnt out and feels dull. To bring into balance, write a poem or draw. Okay. So this is that jack of all trades energy coming back around that I had felt. I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who, again, is incredibly talented. You have untapped potential, right? You have a well, no pun intended, of knowledge, a well of potential that you can dip into at any time. But there's something here about grounding that down, because with the Firefly being that air energy, that is a little bit unstable. And we do have the, the turtle that talks about being a grounded force, okay? So there's something here where it's like, find a project, stick to it. Find something meaningful, stick to it, okay? Find a way that you're gonna go, make a decision, land on something, and stick to it. There's something here about unfinished projects or something, like you're going from this to that to this to that. I'm very guilty of that, okay? Like, I will be the first to admit I resonate with a lot of that this said, because I'm gonna make a deck today, then I'm gonna work on a book. I'm actually working on 2 books right now, okay? So just to let y'all know, I'm working on 2 books right now. So it's like, I will bounce around a lot, and then I'll do my bracelets, and then I'll maybe paint, and then I'll go ahead and work on my plant stuff, and then I wanna do a reading. It's like, scratch that. I actually have 3. Well, I'm working on 2 books, but I have a 3rd book that I have in mind. So it's up there in the ether somewhere. It just hasn't came down the pipeline yet. We're writing it in pencil, basically. But I feel like that's the energy here. Like, you have so many projects, so many creative aspirations, so much creative energy that's just swirling around you, but it's fleeting because these lights, they blink. So one minute you want to work on the book, the next minute you want to work on your beading, the next minute you want to do readings, the next minute you want to draw, right? I had to stop myself the other day because I was watching YouTube videos about how to draw, and I'm like, I fucking suck at this, Jessica, and you have other things you can focus on right now, So I was like, no, Cause I was like, no, I have to keep myself focused on, I don't have time for another hobby, pretty much, so there could be that kind of energy of how spirit sees you as somebody who you spin a little bit. You have like a revolving merry-go-round of like, we're stopping here today, and then we're gonna stop here. We're gonna focus on this for a solid month. I'll be into this, and the next month I'll be into that, and then and it's like spirit really wants you to capture a light, capture something, and make that your main focus. Not where to the point where you drown everybody and everything out. That's not healthy. But like, this is my goal, and this is what I'm going to work on until I have achieved this goal. So for some of you, if you want to write a book, that is your goal. You're going to write this book, and then when you have finished this book, then you can move on to whatever else you want to do. And then when you have finished that project, then you can move on to this. Okay? So that's kind of how I feel like spirit sees you, jumping from one creative vision, one creative project to another. And I do feel like a lot of you might feel like you're chasing the light, not realizing that the light is within you. We talked about that as well. Okay. I want to use the color deck. This is the Color Mage Oracle, which I haven't used in a very long time. But I felt really compelled to kind of use more intuitive cards today and less cards with like actual words on them telling you what the card means. Because I really wanted to dig deep into Spirit's energy of like how Spirit sees you, okay? All right, let's get some messages out here. Spirit, how do you see Gemini currently, please? How do you see Gemini currently, Spirit? Okay. We have Heather, and it's card number 7227. Solitude and diligence. Okay, so I just feel like that's just so on fucking point. And look, the dark. Card number 81, black. They're giving me that song by, God, what is it? The lady that sings, "You tried to make me go to rehab, but I said no, no, no." What is her name? I should know her name. I love her music. Why don't I know her name? But they're giving me the song Back to Black, where basically she's talking about, this guy that she really, really liked, and she cared about him, and he decided to take the easy route and go, basically, I'm not going to be vulgar like the song says, but, dip his stick and what he's used to and what he's familiar to. And so she fades back to black, basically like back to the darkness for me. I tried it. I tried to come out to the light, but back to the black. Okay. And I feel like maybe that's actually quite literally for some of you guys that has happened recently, where you tried to put your heart on the line and it was like, punted away like a football. But for others of you, this could just be in situations in general. You always feel like you have to fade back to black. Okay, you have to go back to the darkness. And again, in the darkness is where you grow, Gemini. I feel like it both can be true. Like we said, you grow in the light too, but there's something about that. So Spirit sees you as somebody who's very diligent. I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who needs to work on discipline if you don't feel like you're diligent. If you feel like you're more in this firefly type of energy of very spontaneous and erratic and sporadic and all over the place, okay? And can't really ground yourself and can't stick with one thing, one person, one situation for too long because you're just always bouncing. There's a need to really get to that emotion that's causing that, because there's something there where it's an emotional response is causing an emotional retaliation, like I said, and there's a need to discipline yourself for some of you guys. Some of you guys are really working on addictions right now, and Spirit sees that. And that doesn't mean that you're free of them, right? To be working on something. Again, this and that can be true. You could still be using or falling into these addictive tendencies, but also at the same time healing yourself, trying to heal yourself, okay? So there's something here about diligence and being disciplined. If you're not there, I feel like that's where Spirit sees you going. Spirit sees you getting more into this disciplined energy, okay? And again, Spirit sees you as a solitude type of energy, like a creature that likes to be in solitude. You do enjoy your own company. And it doesn't mean that you don't enjoy being with other people too. I feel like you do. I feel like when you're out, you're out. Right? We have mirroring energy here. 7227, 7227, 27. That was significant. What is the mirror to that message? Let's find out, guys. Let's find out what 72 is. 72 says it's important to reconnect with yourself and your internal world in order to experience more clarity in your external world. Wow. Well, that goes exactly with what we've been talking about, and I feel like exactly with what this card is talking about too. But El Sol, the sun, right? So deserve reward and purpose. It's like when you're out, but when you're in, you're in. Okay, so there's something about that. I do feel like there is going to be some kind of reward here for the purpose that you have, for whatever it is that you're creating or that you're working on, Gemini. But it's something that you really are going to have to be diligent with, or you're going to have to learn about yourself too. It's not just, okay, well, I create this great masterpiece and then I get $1 million. Like, no, there was a whole fucking journey behind that masterpiece. There's a whole fucking journey behind you to create that masterpiece, you know? So that's just how I see that, okay? Spirit, how do you see Gemini currently? How do you see Gemini currently? Okay. We have, is that the pink guy? The pink Ghazi? I don't know. It's card number 14, okay? Courageous sexuality. All right. Okay, Gemini. Now, obviously, I don't feel like Spirit's looking at you in a sexual way, okay? But I do feel like Spirit wants you to be more controlled. If you are the type of person that maybe you do have some kind of like sex addiction, or you have used your sexuality as a weapon in the past, or you use it as a numbing, a coping mechanism, you know that saying, get over somebody by getting under somebody else, that kind of energy. I feel like Spirit wants you to be more courageous with your sexuality. Now, for me in divination, when I see sexuality, I think of an energy exchange. Who you exchange energy with. Spirit wants you to be more brave with that, okay? There could be something here about not going for the low-hanging fruit here. You deserve the best, Gemini, okay? You deserve somebody who really sees you, somebody who really honors you. And this could be how Spirit is seeing you right now, as realizing your worth, starting to realize your worth, especially with who you exchange energy with, who you create this energy with. Because for me personally, I look at sex as, again, an energy exchange, or somebody or something that I would be creating with somebody, right? So some of you guys, if you're not celibate, there might be a need to be celibate, okay? And then when you break your celibacy, there could be a need to make sure that that person is worthy of that, okay? Because there's something about that where your sexual energy is very potent, it's very powerful here, and I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who could use that energy instead of putting it into people and places. Like, so instead of, you have an itch that you need scratched, so instead of going to, oh, what's their face, that's a sure bet, okay, somebody just pass the time with, you could harness that energy and put it into your creative endeavors. And a lot of you probably already do that. Those who are celibate, we already know the power of that. And I feel like there's times where you really do want to give that energy to somebody, I feel like there's times where that rise comes. I'm not trying to get in your business, guys, but I'm just saying, I feel like there's times where there's that rise here where it's like, I really feel turned on and I really want to give it to somebody. I don't want to go fucking create, right? I don't want to go draw a picture. I don't want to go sing a song. I don't want to go write on my book. I want to, you know what you want to do, okay? So there's something here with that where it's like, those are the times, though, that it's like you're really being courageous with that energy, okay? I'm just seeing this as manifesting. I honestly am. I'm seeing this as like a manifesting energy, especially with the card number 14 reducing to 5. I'm a May Geminis in the house, okay? I feel like there's something here where it's like you do create a lot through that energy. So if you're not giving that energy to anybody right now, you are probably creating like just like a beast, okay? Or you probably have a lot of energy and ideas and passion just swirling through you right now, okay? There's something about that where I feel like Spirit sees you like that. We have spiritual empathy, turquoise, and then we have the orchid, and it says raise your vibration. Let's get one more. Spirit, how do you see Gemini currently? How are you viewing Gemini energy currently, please? Okay. And we have the coral. It's card number 6. So there's my June Geminis. Y'all are like never to be left behind, right? Oh, that's interesting. On the bottom of the deck, we have Firefly. That's so crazy. Card number 23. And I can't read it because I'm blind as a bat, but I'm pretty sure it says illumination. I'm like you guys can see that. Y'all can't see that. All right. So coral energy, mercy and forgiveness. Wow. And that coming out right on top of that well. That's interesting too with this courageous sexuality. Some of you guys might have been, you know, unfortunately, like had been taken advantage of sexually by partners, by family members, by strangers. Okay. You've had some bad things happen to you. And so a lot of you guys, you are scared of doing that. Like you're scared of kind of being with somebody again, you know, in that way. And I feel like when you meet the right person, because I feel like it's very important that you meet the right person, because there's like some kind of shame when it comes to that with a sexual act. So if you do it with the wrong person, you're going to feel really bad afterwards. So there's something here where you need somebody who's like, you know, there's going to be aftercare. They're going to call you back. They're going to give a crap about you. You know, it's like making sure it's with the right person. But I feel like what Spirit is saying here, because I want to get out of your bedroom, Gemini, I feel like what Spirit is saying here is when you do find the right person, don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to do your thing. Okay, you know what I'm saying. All right, so card number 6 with the mercy and forgiveness in the well. That's interesting here. And I don't think it's necessarily forgiveness of others. It could be if that's something that's holding you back. You know? If you did have some kind of emotion that led to that emotional retaliation, like we were talking about with the well energy, yes, there could be a need to really forgive yourself, to forgive others. But I feel like what Spirit sees you as is somebody who is trying to learn that. You're trying to learn forgiveness of your own emotions. It's okay that you had your emotions, right? It's okay that you felt the way that you felt. So there's something about that, guys. I do feel like Spirit's seeing you as a very forgiving person right now, even if you're angry, because when I think of red, I think of anger, passion, you know, things like that. So even if you're angry right now, I feel like Spirit does see you as somebody who is trying to learn to forgive, trying to learn to show mercy to yourself and to others in certain situations. Gemini, I feel like you've been the type of person that, again, you know, people do bad things to you, you have a reaction because of it, and then you feel bad about it. You know? There's something here with a healthy selfishness that's coming through too when it comes to your emotions. Let's use the Soul Journeys lesson cards. This is probably going to be the last deck because I'm feeling a little drained after this reading. What do we have here for how Spirit, how do you see Gemini? Okay. We have service. It says, I feel good when I can help others. Yeah. It do, don't it? There's something about that swan. There's something about, yeah, it feels good when I can help others, but then they don't give it back, right? Or then they don't appreciate it. They don't see the good place that it came from, you know? There's a couple things too, okay, guys, because you know I like to use myself as an example. So the other week or whatever, when I released my merch, I had a comment where somebody was like, I refuse to support you unless you raise your prices. You deserve to make more than $2, $3 off of these products, which, yeah, I agree, right? But I don't control the prices. And I feel like $40 for a t-shirt is already expensive enough. It's not about me making money, right? It's about me being a kind and caring and empathetic person towards my collective and not wanting to not wanting you to have to choose, do I get this, you know, gallon of milk that I need, or do I get this, right? Which, I mean, obviously you shouldn't be making financial choices like that, but you know what I'm saying, basically. Like, it came from a good space. It didn't come from a space of me being greedy, and then for somebody to come in my comments, instead of just being like, wow, this is amazing, bitch, this is awesome, to ream me and make me feel bad about it when I'm just coming from a good place, that made me feel bad. It's just like when I did this last poll, which you guys know if you've been here long enough, I do these polls. Not because I'm trying to find out what's going to be most popular and get the most views. Pretty much for the most part, I get pretty consistent views and I don't really worry about that. I do it because I give a shit about what you guys want to see. These are your readings. They're not my readings. So I want to hear your input. I want to hear what you guys want me to read on. And for somebody to come in my comments and be like, enough with what's popular, get back to the real. Bitch, it's all fucking real. First of all, it's all fucking real around here. Okay, none of it's fake. And so for me to not be one of those people that just says, well, you know what? This is my fucking kitchen. Here's your plate and you're going to eat it and that's it. But for me to because this is the type of person that I am, is the type of person that cares about other people, cares about what other people think and what other people feel and are they comfortable and this and that. For that to kind of get thrown right back at me like it was something bad, it's like, well, fuck you then, right? Like, it's like that kind of energy because I'm just so tired of like doing things to be nice because that's how I am, and then having people treat me like that's a bad thing. Now, I don't know that person, so maybe that person, maybe they're used to people treating them like that. Well, you're just going to take what I give you and you're going to like it. Or maybe that's the type of person that they are, right? They don't resonate with me on that energy because they're not the type of person that thinks about how other people feel or what other people would want, right? But I feel like there's something here where Spirit's seeing that in you right now, where it's like you do give, you are of service to other people, you do care about other people's feelings and what's going on with other people, but there's a need to kind of care a little bit more about yourself and how you're feeling, how what you want to do or what makes you feel good. There's something about that. Sorry to go off on the tangent, guys, but I have feelings too. So there's something there with that, okay? But I do feel like you are here to actually be of service to others, and that's where I've seen this entire reading here, where Spirit sees you doing this delicate dance here. Because to be of service to others doesn't mean that you are beneath them. Just because you're out there and maybe maybe you clean houses, Gemini, right? That doesn't mean that you are beneath the person that you're cleaning the house of, right? Maybe you're a nanny, okay? You watch people's kids, or maybe you wash cars, or maybe you take out the trash, or whatever you do to be of service to your community, to people around you. It doesn't mean that you're beneath them because you're doing that. Actually, it takes a lot of pride. It takes a lot of care. It takes a lot of strength to do the things that a lot of people aren't willing to do. Like, perfect example, you guys, a lot of you know, not everybody obviously, but I am a part of the women's club in my community, and I help them out every single month with the luncheons. And after January, the hospitality crew, we're not doing it anymore, and we're just, for whatever reasons, there's several reasons, but a lot of the reasons are some of these ladies are just getting a lot older and they just don't want to do it anymore, and I can't do it on my own, and nobody in the club wants to step up. Everybody wants to be served. Nobody wants to serve because it's hard work. Not only do you spend that whole week before cooking and prepping and getting ready, you spend that whole day cooking and serving and washing dishes and clearing plates and treating these people like they're the Queen of England, and nobody wants to go and do that. Everybody wants to sit down and be served. Nobody wants to stand up and serve. And I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody that's who you are, Gemini. You are the person that is willing to stand up and serve. But sometimes you deserve to sit down and be served as well, okay? That's just what I'm getting. And maybe there's a level here of needing to forgive yourself for the times where you didn't allow yourself to sit down and be served, okay? We have patience. It says, I accept that everything happens in divine order. I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who is trying to learn divine patience, or somebody who has mastered divine patience. It's going to be different for everybody, right? Everybody here is at a different level, but I feel like for some of you guys, you've either mastered this patience, okay, and this trust in the divine. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. I accept that everything happens in divine order. I accept, right? It is what it is type of energy, because I feel like some people look at it as it is what it is, as a dismissive energy. But I look at it more, and I feel like a lot of you guys look at it as more of an acceptance of, I can't control this. I can't control this. So I have to give it up to the divine, or to whatever it is, the natural order of things, and I have to accept. I feel like there's something here where Spirit sees you as somebody who is mastering that right now, mastering that patience within yourself and within others, and mastering the trust. We see trust with the turtle. So if there's something here where you're learning to trust yourself, so you can learn to trust other people, you can learn to trust other situations, I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who's going to be successful in that, and that's something that you're doing currently, okay? Let's get one more, then I'm going to go. One more for how you're seeing Gemini energy right now, Spirit. Okay, and we have freedom. Yes, a Spirit, okay? It says, I possess the power and free will to create my own happiness. There is something about that well with the coral and the freedom. It's just like, you know, some of you guys have held on to some kind of emotion or some kind of emotional response, some kind of feeling that was not good from your past. And you've kind of let that bind you. You've let that kind of mold the decisions and the path ahead of you. And I feel like Spirit sees you as somebody who's taking their power back. Okay? Could damn sure be in relationships. I feel like there's something here where Spirit's seeing you as somebody who's taking your own sense of individuality and power back. You know? Like, I deserve to give mercy and forgiveness to myself. I deserve to know that, yeah, while I can go deep, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a well. There's nothing wrong with being a deep person that can see deeply into people, places, and situations. And you're free to do that, right? If that's what makes you happy, you're free to be that individual, you know? So there's something there with that. All right, Gemini, I don't know if this reading helped. I don't know what it did, okay? But I do hope it helps. I hope it resonates. I hope it does something. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.